Please give a warm welcome to Mr. Andy Merrill.
Not yet. He has to do that. There. Okay.
All right. Thank you all very much for coming tonight. I'm Eli Neiburger, Director of the Ann Arbor District Library, and it is my incredible pleasure tonight to interview the one and only star of stage, screen, and social media. Please join me in welcoming Andy Merrill.
What if I didn't come out then? Screw you. No, come out. No, you go to hell.
So I've got some basic questions lined up we're going to ask Andy, and then we've got your questions from the audience, and then we'll have some time at the end for a meet and greet. So first to start off with, tell us about when you were a kid. Where were some creative projects that you did? I know there were some puppets in your youth. And what were some of the stuff that you did for fun and creativity when you were young?
I remember a long time ago getting a tape recorder. And even like when I was like really little, my dad had a reel-to-reel tape recorder, which has since been lost. I took it to college, and I thought I'd put whatever was on the tapes on, a cassette, because cassettes were going to last forever. But there somewhere there's a reel-to-reel of my 5-year-old self being in like a family production of Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
And what was your role?
Oh, that's Baby Bear. It's the meaty role. Somebody been sleeping in my bed. No, we got like our first. I remember it was one of those stupid, just cassette tape recorders, and my brother and I used to do little skits back and forth. This was after I think we started doing puppets. We went to this Christian school, and they had a competition, kind of like a talent competition, but it was like independent fundamental Baptist, so they were very strict on like. So if you were in the singing competition, you could sing hymns and stuff, but you couldn't sing anything that had a guitar in it, because that was too rock and rollish, and you couldn't have a song that had the word ain't in it, because that was too stupid. Anyway, they had a puppet section of the competition, and my brother and I did puppets for the competition, because I think we had started doing a little bit of that kind of thing, because Santa brought us puppets one year in a puppet stage, and the competition was fierce. Here, wait, hold on. This was what we were up against mostly. This is basically what we were up against. If you are not saved and want Jesus in your heart, then please pray after me. Dear Jesus. And so that was basically our competition. And so my mom wrote some kind of weirdo script, and my brother and I did multiple characters in a story, and people were like, really? There's only 2 of you back there? So we were kind of a shoo-in to win, because people thought there were lots of people back there, when really it was us doing separate voices for other puppets.
Incredible.
I'm surprised they didn't think there were demons back there. So, yeah, we won the competition. And that kind of like sparked the whole thing. And then we started like a puppet ministry in our church. There was a place in San Diego, Puppet Productions. They made the puppets, but then they would also send you plans on how to build a puppet stage out of plastic tubing and just regular velour curtains and stuff like that. So we just went around to churches and schools. And my dad was a dentist. So part of the puppet not ministry part was like going with my dad to different elementary schools and talk about, because we had a puppet that was a tooth, and he was Henry Happy Tooth, and he would go and talk about dental hygiene and stuff. So that was also fun, because and most of the stuff that my brother and I did together were kind of like improv stuff. So that I kind of learned how to do improv kind of around that time. And then my brother went to college, and that just would come up like sad. And my mom was like, "What's wrong, Delbert?" And he was like, come up like sad. And my mom was like, "What's wrong, Delbert?" And he was like, "Oh, I just feel like crap today." And just I might as well have said the F word, because crap is not a good church word. So, but we were forgiven.
I heard you say once when someone was asking about the origin of the Brak voice that it was a voice that you and your friends would, kind of make to each other when goofing around. So who was the first buddy to get a yeah buddy?
Yeah, buddy.
The original Brak voice was just me yelling at the top of my lungs. "Hi, my name is Brak, and I would talk like this." And after a while, it just wasn't funny, and it just hurt my voice, my vocal cords after a while. So I kind of morphed him into that voice I did in high school. It was just, you're messing around with your friends saying, "You're bizarre. You're the stupidest person I know." And so that's kind of where that came from. But yeah. But I was always, because of puppets and because my brother and I did, messed around with tape recorders and stuff, I was always doing voices. I was in all the plays in high school and college and all that stuff. So I was always playing somebody else. I was never like the lead in the plays. I was always the comic relief character. So I always had a different accent than everybody else in the show. I think we did Bells Are Ringing. I had a German accent. We did
Foreshadowing.
We did Music Man, and I was Marcellus Washburn. So I was the only one with a New York accent. If you want to toidle around, that kind of thing. So yeah. So
How come we've never heard Brak sing Shapoopy? Seems like a perfect song for him.
It's so high. That's the highest song. You have to be a super tenor to sing that song.
So
Yeah, little old guy with the little town with no guy, with everyone can see. That was like the worst. Shapoopy.
So when did you realize or decide that you wanted to work in television?
That's another thing. My friend and I, my friend Wally and I, Wally always had like video equipment and stuff because his dad was a TV repairman. So we would just go out and make our own dumb little movies and stuff, and they're not very good. And so that kind of sparked the interest. I was too stupid when I went to college to think, oh, that's what I want to do. I went to college initially in Ada, Ohio, to be a pharmacist because I thought that's what I wanted to do. And they had a very crazy weeding out process. Everything was just so hard. And I gave up everything. I gave up theater and writing and all of that stuff to take math and science and biology and chemistry and pharmacy and all of that. And that took like 2 semesters before I was like, yep, I'm out, because my grades were just so terrible. So I got into Asbury College in Kentucky, where my brother went to college, based on my SATs and my brother's record at the school. And I was going to go into abnormal psychology.
And didn't you?
I did not do well there either. So they had a really good television program. Television and radio, but television mostly, and the president of the college was really supportive. In '96, my college was a training ground for the Atlanta Olympics for different students coming in. I went on a mission trip in '89 to Kenya to shoot dilapidated orphanages and stuff like that to help raise money to build new schools and stuff. So that was like my main project when taking broadcasting in college. So yeah, it wasn't very funny, but all the stuff all the little projects that we did outside of that, like. I think the most influential class I had at college was, I just happened to be lucky enough to be there at the time where there was like a professional comedy writer whose husband was going to the seminary across the street. And so my mentor was like, hey, would you like to teach a class in TV writing? And her name was Monica Ganis. She worked with Paul Rubens on the original Pee Wee Herman show that they did in the Groundlings. She was in a short-lived sketch comedy show with Billy Crystal, and she wrote for Mork and Mindy. So she really encouraged us all to write comedy, because it was much harder than writing just straight up drama and stuff. And instead of tests and stuff, we had to write scripts. Our final exam in that class was to pair up with 2 other students in the class and write a pitch for a sitcom. It was about a home shopping network. And we just made the host just this real jerk, and he had to. the whole pilot was about him trying to get used to the taste of this beer-o-matic was what they were trying to sell, and they just would put garbage in this machine, and it would like make the most delicious beer. And so the whole episode is him trying to be able to drink the beer without puking.
And so then your first big job or real job was at CNN.
CNN.
Yep, and that was 1990, somewhere in there?
1991. So I graduated in March of 90. Like December of 91, I got into CNN and worked my way up from video journalist, they called it. But really what you're doing is making sure all of the on-air people get their scripts and all that, pointing them to the right camera, floor directed. Working in the recording studio, I had to mic up and put IFBs in people's ears so they could hear whoever was on the other end of the satellite. So I've been really up close and personal with Newt Gingrich. I know. Like, really? I have to put my hand in his shirt? Okay. You know. Put my hand in his shirt and my finger in his ear. So it's the highlight of my life.
So when did you see the first posting for Cartoon Network?
First posting at Cartoon Network. I'd seen the news that Ted had bought the libraries of Hanna-Barbera and all of that. And he already had pre-1948 Warner Brothers, Tom and Jerry, MGM, all those Tex Avery's, Popeye. And so once he bought the Hanna-Barbera library, we all kind of figured he was going to do something. So maybe that summer before the launch of the network, they posted they needed, no, not even that. It might have been that fall. They posted it, and I applied. I had to take my resume over to Techwood and hand it to them because nothing existed back then. So they brought me in for an interview. Those were the early days. And it was the only time that they gave, like, it was for programming, and they gave like anybody knew their crap. So I aced it. But it was like a regular test that you take in high school, but it was all on like cartoon knowledge. So there wasn't extra credit, but I kind of got extra credit because there was a matching category, and they had 6 cartoon characters they had 4 studios on one side, 6 cartoon characters on the other side. And it was like match the studio with the character. So I matched the 4 studios, and there were 2 characters left, Woody Woodpecker, and I think Gerald McBoing Boing. And I wrote in the studio next to the character. And so they were like, okay, all right, bring this guy in. So I had an interview with Lazo. I had an interview with a man who was in programming at the time, Dick Connell. And then they were so impressed that I had to go talk to Betty Cohen, the president of the network at the time. And I got in 2 months after the network launched, and I was there until, well, there was a short period I was gone from 98 to 99, but I was basically there for 25 years. So I was people don't know, I started in programming. I programmed all the short cartoons. So I was the resident so it was like a toy store playing with all of the stuff that you grew up with watching and loved, and you get to like put them in an order that people will love them too. So, we had everything. We had Hair Bear Bunch, we had Smurfs, we had Snorks, we had, Chattanooga Cats from like 1969, just weird stuff. Before we got Scooby-Doo on Boomerang, we would have that extra hour a year when daylight savings time would turn over. So that was always my favorite hour because I called it the hour of power. And I would take like the obscure, not very many episode shows and like put them together. So one year, if you tuned in, you saw Mr. T and Chuck Norris. and then another year, I made this one permanent on the network later. I did Banana Splits and Skatebirds. Skatebirds was kind of a knockoff of Banana Splits. They used like in-studio costume characters, only they were on roller skates. And they had short cartoons in it. It was responsible for the 3 Robonic Stooges. And they always had like an live action sequence, which reminds me, I was there when Lazo wanted to play the same Screwy Squirrel cartoon over and over again on April Fool's Day. I don't even think we made it a quarter of the way through the day before Ted was like, okay, stop. And then one year, I thought it'd be funny. We had 2 Stupid Dogs host April Fool's Day, and it was all just Danger Island from the Banana Splits. Danger Island was directed by Richard Donner, who did Omen and Superman and stuff. So putting them all together, it was 4.5 hours of programming. And so to do a 6-hour marathon, we almost got to do it. But at the very end of the day, right before we were about to do it, TBS was like, you know what? No. Because my idea was to do Danger Island, and then we had that hour and a half. There are 3 episodes of the Brady Bunch where they go to Hawaii.
Right. Yes.
And I was like, let's do that. And they wouldn't let us do it.
No fun.
They were nice enough in the one Space Ghost episode in Gilligan to give us that one little clip of Gilligan's Island, but after that, no. Oh, and Chips. We used a clip of Chips once.
Right. So tell us about the lead up to developing the pilot for Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
The story all the time. So the early years of the network, we would have a special character be the character of the month. So it was April '93. June of '93 was going to be Space Ghost Month. And so we in programming used to come up with the marathons and stuff like that. Later on air would do it. So we were trying to come up with a marathon for Space Ghost. Khaki Jones, who used to head up Disney Animation for a while, she and I shared an office, and she came up with the name Space Ghost Coast to Coast. Lazo was like, hey, a talk show, blah. And we were like, okay, maybe we could do it. And we had an edit bay just close by. And I had, they had trained us enough in college to be able to edit tape to tape. And before I left CNN, I was going to be an editor at CNN, so I already knew how to edit. So I meticulously edited little fractions of seconds of Space Ghost cartoon, just so I could get his mouth to move. And I took that, and I took footage from Showbiz Tonight, which was a CNN show, and it was an interview with Denzel Washington, and I mixed those together, and that was the pilot. And we sold it to Fred Seibert, who was the head of Hanna-Barbera at the time. And somewhere in there, they were like, okay, we want to see something more. So Stephen Krankota, who's the chief marketing officer of Versace now. Weird. He was the head of On Air at the time, and he came up with had them put together this really flashy version of a pilot. And we even had Gary Owen do the voice of Space Ghost, where in the original pilot it's my voice. But they had Gary Owen come in. We were going to have LaToya Jackson dance in every episode. The sidekick was going to be Hervé Villachez. No lie. He was even he was signed to do it when he killed himself.
Oh my God.
Jeez. And I hate to think that was the catalyst, but I don't know. So nobody liked that pilot anyway. So then, we had Clay was just an animator at Crawford Post, and he helped come up with the open of the show. And we had already, by the time we were with Clay was doing new animation for us for Space Ghost and putting Zorak in the keyboard area and stuff. And Clay showed us that he could do pretty much any voice that Dawes Butler and Don Messick could do. So he did Zorak for us, and that was pretty much, we were like, okay, yeah, well, there you go. originally I was Moltar, and that didn't work out. But, you know, anybody can do Moltar. We modulate the voice down enough, so if you just go in the mic and talk like this, they modulate it enough so it's like, oh, shut up. But Clay was Moltar. We got George Lowe, who was just a local radio guy, be Space Ghost, and that's kind of how it came. We did a Christmas episode with the Council of Doom. So I played Lokar and Brak. We got Judy Tenuta to come in and be Black Widow. R.I.P. Judy. She was so cool. But yeah, that was that.
And what did you?
It was hard to get guests at first. So Timothy Leary, I think, was the first guest we could ever get, and that was like, really? But anyway, Timothy Leary, it all kind of like fell into place. Timothy Leary got us interest from other people. Batman and Gilligan got us, Gilligan mostly, got us the Ramones. The Ramones, pretty much, you know, you have the Ramones on, everybody else falls into place. Everybody's like, oh, shit, the Ramones. And so, you know, we had like David Byrne calling us saying, well, yeah, I want to be on the show. And like Michael Stipe drove himself all the way from Athens to Atlanta excitedly to be on the show. And he was never on talk shows and stuff. So, you know, I think it really, really, really helped having the Ramones on the show. And riding an elevator with the Ramones is the most intimidating thing ever. And Joey was like 40 feet tall and like 20 pounds. He was just so skinny and tall.
So what did you all learn, like the first season, about what was working and what wasn't working?
We always tried to stay true to the interviews and not change them because we thought it was an ethics problem if we like went off, and it just turned out that it wasn't funny. I think we came into our stride when we were all after Cartoon Planet, when we were all kind of like shoved in a room and locked in there, and it was after Warner Brothers bought us. And they wanted 28 episodes. And we were used to doing 10. And so they locked us in a room and berated us and that's kind of around the time where we were like, you know what? It's funnier if we just write the script and then find parts of the interview that will go into it. We didn't do that all the time, just because it got to a point where we were doing interviews where people were into it and they knew what we were going to do with the interviews. So they would play, like, you know, they would, like Bob Odenkirk and David Cross, they did the whole thing where they were being shot and stuff like that. So anyone who would like play with, you know, being shot in the face or just whatever like that, we would pretty much use the interview the way it was. Or if you were Merrill Marco and you just screwed with us the whole time, then that was just genius and needed to be like shown the way it was originally recorded. So, yeah, there were just genius people like that who were like, okay, this writes itself, you know.
Did it feel groundbreaking at the time?
No, well, not to us because we're in a room being yelled at every day. So, no. We knew we were doing something cool once we got better guests, but just the daily, this sucks. I hate this. You guys think you're going to do good in Hollywood? You won't, type of thing. So, and that was mostly like to keep us there, because I know people were at some point when I finally quit, I had a really good agent and manager that I squandered. But yeah, I moved to New York, and my manager manages the Letterman writers and people from SNL and stuff, and I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, one of my first meetings for a writer position at MTV Movie Awards was just stupid. It was like, meet at the Mercer Hotel and with Ben Stiller, and I was like, okay. And so I go up the elevator with, who is it? Oh yeah, I go to the Mercer. What's his name? Runn's brother. Reverend Runn's brother. Russell Simmons is in a booth somewhere making a deal with some guy. I get in the elevator, there's this guy in there, and I'm like, oh, Benicio del Toro. And we're just awkwardly standing there. I get up to Ben Stiller's room, and I'm just like, Ben comes in, he's like, what are you doing in here? And I'm like, they told me to come into your room. He's like, no, that's, it's okay. And so we went downstairs, went to lunch with. So I'm at lunch with Ben Stiller, a couple guys who wrote for Larry Sanders, and a couple Conan writers. And I'm like, what in the heck? What am I doing here? I just didn't feel. I think that's why it never worked out really with my agent and manager, because I was beat down so much at Cartoon that I just never felt like I was worthy to be in any presence of any professional writer.
Is he worthy?
One of the main things I made money in New York was I was with United Talent. UPN, which was before the WB, made a deal with United Talent to hire a bunch of writers, not to pitch anything, just to write a pilot, and they would just buy the pilots. And it was an experiment. And so it was me, I think those same Larry Sanders guy, Joel Hodgson was one of them,
okay.
and me. And so we all just wrote pilots, and then UPN was bought them, and they were like, we're not going to produce any of these. Mine was stupid. Mine was about Sugar Creek, Ohio, and a young girl and her Amish boyfriend trying to restore the local theater. So I wrote this whole musical about the history of the theater. I think I had a guy come on and just go, I'm Bob. I hope you remember me, Hope. I wrote this whole stupid musical about Bob Hope coming and performing at the theater. Which was so stupid. It was stupid. I tried to write it. The Office was just becoming popular at the time, so I tried to write it kind of in that vein of
Pseudo-reality.
Pseudo-reality / interview people type of thing.
Would you like to sing a song for us?
I'm Bob. Thanks for the memories, Hope. No, that's what it was.
Do you want to sing a song and then we'll ask some more questions?
You can ask more
Okay,
questions.
let's ask more questions. All right. So how did it happen that then there was the decision to spin off Cartoon Planet and start making those into its own show?
I forget his name. Whoever was in charge of TBS at the time wanted Zorak and Space Ghost to host a cartoon show and to do just little bits in between the cartoons. And so that's where we kind of brought in Brak to be the third wheel in that. because we didn't want to just have Space Ghost and Zorak arguing the whole time. It just didn't have the right dynamic. So it's always fun to bring in the idiot. So we started doing stuff. We started writing dumb little songs. I think that's where Minky Boodle came out.
Okay.
I did a version of Mana. And the concept was just basically them talking for a few seconds in between cartoons. And it got to a point where we started doing a thing called Mailbag Day. And I just had a discussion with TV's Frank from MST3K about a month ago. And I was like, you know what, no one cared enough back then in the 90s to answer their viewer mail like we did and like they did on MST3K. And so we started doing Mailbag Day. And, you know, you kind of fake the letters at first just to get people saying, oh, they're doing real stuff. So we only did maybe like 3 segments where I had just hired Dave Willis, who did Aqua Teen, Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell and stuff like that. So Dave wrote like the initial like Cartoon Planet letters. And then they just started pouring in, you know. And we got so many fan letters that we started experimenting and kind of like eliminating one of the cartoons in the show. It was only like a half-hour show. We would eliminate the cartoons and run some of the longer stuff. And it got to a point, once we finally moved it over to Cartoon Network, we got rid of the cartoons in it altogether and just put the little shorts together in different shows. Before, we're streaming. I can't talk about it. Damn it. Before Pete and I left Cartoon Planet and went back to Space Ghost Coast to Coast, we did maybe 500 and some little things for Cartoon Planet. We put them together into like 29 episodes, which might show up at some point again. I won't say anything else without getting in trouble. So yeah, Brak is coming back to Checkered Past. I just shot a bunch of stuff. Ooh, I can do that. This is one thing I did for it. This is the 15. Wait. Okay. This is the 15-second song. This song is only 15 seconds long. With a song that short, how can anything go wrong? This is a 15-second song. Oh, dang it. So they're having me do like little 15-second segments in between like What a Cartoon and Dexter's Lab episodes and stuff like that. So
Incredible.
it's all like Checkered Past is from 5 to 7. Adult Swim kind of took those over. So Monday to Thursday it's 5 to 7. Friday it's all Toonami. But yeah, 5 to 7. It's old Cartoon Network cartoons like Dexter's Lab, Ed, Edd and Eddy, Billy and Mandy. They just got good press because they started airing at the beginning of August the What a Cartoons, which were competition shorts by different, like, well, they're all pretty established now. So you'll see, like, the original Billy and Mandy short. You'll see Seth MacFarlane's pre-Family Guy short that he did after working on Johnny Bravo. So, yeah. So that kind of stuff.
Because
It's very nostalgic.
Absolutely. One of Brak's earliest breakout moments on the Coast to Coast was the world premiere shorts episode with Dexter's Lab and Johnny Bravo and Powerpuff Girls.
That was like a Father's Day episode, and we featured Craig McCracken, Gendy, Shoot.
Van Partible.
Van Partible, we see. Yeah, Van. And that other guy. The guy
Pat
who did
Ventura.
Pat Ventura. I didn't like his shorts. He did George and Junior, which was okay, but it never lived up to Tex Avery, and I don't know. He tried to be Ralph Bakshi, which I never liked Ralph Bakshi either. Although, as a kid, my first exposure to Ralph Bakshi did just filthy stuff, but Ralph Bakshi also did the 1968. The animated Spider-Man started in 1967, and then Ralph Bakshi started working on the show in 1968, and that's where you see Spider-Man just flying through weird orange psychedelic sky backgrounds and stuff. It's so weird. I love that show so much, though.
How did you know that Brak was becoming a star?
Because he got more fan mail than anybody else. No, it's true. We got more fan mail. And when we stopped doing Cartoon Planet, we couldn't just get rid of him either. So we started putting him more and more in episodes of Space Ghost. I got to interview Steve Allen. That was crazy. Steve Allen actually made up a Brak language. He was I was like, oh, you speak my language? Yeah, I speak Brak. And he started doing this double talk, and I was like, that's what she said. I didn't really interview that many people. Dave Willis did. Dave Willis interviewed Paul Westerberg from The Replacements, who was the only one who threw his mic off and walked off in frustration. And then they went and performed at the Roxy that night, and their first song was F.U. Space Ghost. He was really... Paul Westerberg was stupid. I'll just say that. But I interviewed Weird Al and Steve Allen and people that terrified me to talk to.
Sure.
I was always a big Weird Al fan, so to interview Weird Al, I was like, and even on the Brak Show, we had, they let me direct George Takei. Oh. And I was always a big Star Trek fan, and so the record all went well and everything was cool, but every time George would just go, now Andy, I would just go, he said my name.
So tell us a little bit about the development of the characters for the Baffler meal and the sort of
That
birth.
was not mine. Yeah. That was all Dave and Matt.
Okay.
Dave and Matt did the Baffler meal. I don't know if Matt Harrigan had any part of that either. So I think that was just Dave and Matt Malero, and then they took it and developed it more, and it became Aqua Teen Hunger Force. I was not the original Oglethorpe. I was always the person that they would go, hey, this character sucks. Let's see what Andy can do. And so, yeah, Oglethorpe was totally different. I think he was very gay and, I don't know, stereotypically gay or something like that. And it just wasn't funny enough, I guess, for them. So I was like, hey, how about this German accent? So what if Hitler were stupid? Which he was anyway. But, yeah.
Was Mike Schatz already... Was he already playing Avery?
Yeah, was already Emery. And then the dynamic changed when I went in and started doing more of that. And they always have to tell me to tone it down when I start talking, because I'll go right into the reading and go, you don't know what you're doing! And just scream my head off. They're like, Andy, just... I just did a read for, I just did my second episode of KIF Tuesday for Fun Uncle Pat. And I kind of started, he like kind of freaks out through the whole episode. And I kind of started out of the gate kind of like at about an 8. And they were like, no, bring it down. And then I brought it down, and then maybe like 4 lines later, they would go, you know what, go back to that and like bring it back up. So
And then where did the Brak Show become from? Well, you know,
Brak Show came from I moved to New York in '98, and that's when the variety show happened.
the Brak Presents the Brak Show starring Brak, yes.
So I was in New York with Freddie Prinze Jr. Doing that segment because I lived in New York at the time. Excuse me. We had talked about doing a whole series of the variety show, but it got to a point where it was going to be really expensive because I think we were going to pay each guest, I don't know, something like $5,000 or something. And then somebody came along with a contract that said, I want this. And so all the other contracts said, if somebody else gets more, you will get that too. So that kind of screwed up everything. So we only made it into like an hour-long special, which we aired in 2 parts. You can see it on YouTube. I don't think you can see it anywhere else. But I recorded with Freddie Prinze Jr. I recorded with the Chieftains. That was crazy. And I shared the booth with Jody Messina on the one song that was written for Randy Newman. And Randy was going to do it, but he couldn't do it because of his obligations to Disney. So We're Buds was supposed to be Brak and Randy Newman.
Oh, okay.
We're not like you.
You're not like me.
You about to Timmy? I always did that was my first stand-up. I would do Randy Newman. I was like, what's wrong with Randy Newman? I don't know what it is about donuts. It's like, oh, and then, okay, Randy. We got this new movie. It's about this giant shark that that kills people on the beach. You think you could write a soundtrack for that? Okay. There's a shark. That's my Randy Newman. Lately, I did a cover of Cars by, what's the other? Gary Newman. Here in my car, I feel safe in the... No. I don't know what it is about donuts. The round with the great big hole. That's my Randy Newman.
So do you think that the Brak Show changed Brak as a character, or was it more like written around who Brak was becoming?
Well, it definitely changed it because Key Luke was the original voice in '66. It kind of evolved. It wasn't. Yeah, it's funny when I started doing this stuff for Adult Swim again. They were like, "Send us some scripts." I'm like, okay, that's fresh," and because I don't. We would script things for Cartoon Planet, but we would go through the script so fast we would have maybe an hour left in the booth back when we were doing Cartoon Planet, and so that's where a lot of Cartoon Planet was ad-libbed. A lot of the songs were kind of made up on the spot. All the needle drop stuff. There's one CD that's all Eddie Horst music that Pete Smith wrote, like with What Happened to the Water and stuff like that. That was all composed by somebody. And then there was the needle drop stuff, which was the stuff we would make up in the studio, like Highway 40 and stuff like that. That
Pizza song, I imagine.
Pizza Song was a needle drop.
Yeah.
Pizza Song never made it to an album, but that was the 2012 revival of Cartoon Planet. That came from somebody, one of my friends at work, was so excited to introduce me to her friends at a Braves game. And this was kind of like right after, during like Space Ghost, and they were like, "Sing the pizza song," and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Sing the pizza song, and they just thought I was a jerk because there was no pizza song at the time. So later, when I did, like 20 years later, I do like Cartoon Planet in 2012. That was the first thing I did, was a pizza song. And there was a new writer on the other side of my cubicle who didn't really put it together that I was Brak, and she was like a big fan when she was a kid. She was the best one to write Brak later on. But I was going over the pizza song because at some point in the song I said pizza 38 times now. Now I'll say it 14 more, because I went through the song and counted how many times I was saying pizza in the song just so I could get the count accurate. And at some point I saw like over the cubicle. She was like, "Oh my gosh." And I was like, "Yep." Because initially she just thought I was the cool guy that listened to the Fratellis over the wall.
So I have something I always wondered about the Brak Show, which is, where'd the dollhouse furniture come from? Like, whose idea was it for the sets to have like the dollhouse furniture?
It wasn't. I don't know. That was all just like rotoscope. That was just all like, I don't know who came up with the design for it. It might have been Clay. It might have been Matt. What's his name? Anyway, I know that Dad was not supposed to be small.
Okay.
We showed up to see like the dad designs on the set, and they just hadn't sized him up to the chair yet. And I think Clay thought it was funny to have his legs just dangling over the seat, and we were like, "Yeah, that's exactly what he needs to be." Because originally, like Clarence was supposed to be, what was his name? The Schemer. And the Schemer is only about this tall. Okay. And the Schemer shows up later in an episode, but that was supposed to be what Clarence was, because we had put like a little jetpack on the Schemer's backpack, so he would be like, his head would be at the same level. Because Zorak is way taller than Brak, but we always had Zorak stoop over, kind of like Jerry Lewis would do with Dean Martin, because they were the same height. But yeah, we were going to have like, Clarence was going to be the Schemer and just be floating around all the time. But then he just became this gelatinous blob that was a Brak fan. And not everybody likes Clarence, but I like doing Clarence because I could just make fun of everything that Brak was. I could get the songs wrong. I do whatever. I could just make references to some obscure thing in the past to see if anybody would notice. And just to kill him in every episode was fun. Just to be like, la, 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 and just like scream bloody murder at the top of my lungs. I always thought that was fun.
Were there any celebrities that got away that you always hoped to book on Space Ghost or work with otherwise?
Not really. I wish we would have had more Pythoners. We only had Terry Jones. I wish we could have gotten... I remember one time Michael Palin came into the offices and did a talk on one of his books, and I thought, this was a missed opportunity. And the same with Bob Keeshan came in and was like signing ping pong balls one day, and I was like, oh God, Captain Kangaroo, and nobody told me he was here. And he was like one of my like childhood influences, like sure. Captain Kangaroo, there's Mr. Rogers. They were all just like big heroes to me, and to find out that Bob like came and went. And I was like sitting up in my cubicle. I'm like, damn it! I even had like a Captain Kangaroo comic book with his picture on the front. I'm like, ugh. Everybody's coming up with their signed ping pong balls. I'm like, you bastards.
Are there pilots that you worked on that you are really sad didn't get picked up?
That's what I did. I wasted a lot of time in Los Angeles when I moved there, working on pilots. There was something I had an idea for that I had for maybe 15 years that I finally wrote to paper. And I wrote like examples of episodes and everything you would want in a show Bible. I presented it to them, and the people at Nickelodeon were like, did you ever think of writing a book? And I was like, but it's right, the whole first season is right here. There was that. There was another kind of multi-dimensional one. That was the one. It was the multi-dimensional one. And I got through that. I finally showed it to like an agent, and they were like, did you ever hear of Rick and Morty? And I was like,
oh, no.
There was another one that Disney and Nick passed on because I killed the main character in the first episode. Oh. And I've seen them do that in other shows. It was a buddy comedy between it was a boy who's like a really good student, and he gets hit by an asteroid, and it's the radioactiveness, and it divides him in two. So there's his zombie physical self and his ghost self that only his psychic sensitive friend can see.
Okay.
So the whole show is about him trying to pass his zombie self off as himself. So it was like a ghost zombie buddy comedy. And then I wasted like a year and a half working on a pilot for Haunted Mansion.
Okay.
Because the Disney guy at the time I was like, what are you guys really looking for? And they said, we want legacy, and we want something from the theme parks. So I tried both. They had just made that deal to get Oswald back, the Lucky Rabbit. So I tried, before Oswald, I went in with a pitch based on a movie. And the first thing I said was, okay, Roger Rabbit. And then everybody was like, no. And I was like, okay, well, that's that. I wanted to do like an update of Toontown from the years of Roger Rabbit up until like Disney at that moment. And that included the crappy 80s, like Gummy Bears and Gargoyles and stuff like that. So they were like, no! And so I started watching a lot of Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. So I kind of like turned that into... Oswald was like an engineer in some of the early black and white. So I just kind of did a Disney timeline of a train track. And it's just Oswald going through the history of Disney. And they were like, we have internet plans for Oswald. I was like, fine. So then I pitched Haunted Mansion, and they egged me on for like a year and a half on that until they were like, bad news, Guillermo del Toro wants to do a Haunted Mansion, and that killed it like right away. I at least wanted to get to the point where the Pirates of the Caribbean guys got before they were going to do a Pirates of the Caribbean show before the movie took focus. And those guys didn't work on the movies. But they got to the point where they could go to Disneyland and walk through the ride. And I thought, I want to get to that point at least. I never got to that point. So, but yeah, my wife was at work, my ex-wife was at work, and my daughter was at school, and we had like an annual pass to Disneyland. So I would go and ride Haunted Mansion over and over again to get as much as I could out of it. And I had, like, it was detailed. It was like, and I tried to include everything from all of the different parks because everything is, like, subtly different. Yeah. So I went into, like, huge detail. I don't think it helped my I don't think it helped my pitch meet. They knew I was kidding. But I went to the pitch meeting and they're all sitting there like, I said, okay, all right, Eddie Murphy is a failed real estate agent. And I start like the plot of the whole Haunted Mansion movie. And they're like, I don't think they liked that joke.
I got 3 good questions here from the audience.
Okay.
All right. What is your favorite song from the Cartoon Planet soundtracks?
I just recently had Linda Carter, TV's Wonder Woman, quote Highway 40 to me on Twitter out of nowhere. And I was like, what? What? You were on the Muppet Show singing Rubber Band Man. That blew my mind. I don't know. Pizza Song was fun. Highway 40 is the one that, you know, everybody remembers. There's also Don't Touch Me. And when COVID came out, somebody had posted that video a long time ago. And when COVID happened, people kept sharing it, and it got up to like 3 million views. And I thought, that's where I made Brak. I thought, I'm going to maybe try and capitalize this. So I tried to... I did a little 8-minute pilot with a really crude-looking Brak puppet, and I was going to do a stay-at-home show of Brak just talking about, now stay safe, and you stay within 6 feet of people, and just with a Brak puppet just messing around in my house. And they were like, that's too babyish. And I thought, do you not know who Brak is?
That's right.
I think once I made a poop joke. Okay, fine. I can take that out. I don't have to do those jokes. I think, I did a segment where Brak is on the toilet in a Zoom meeting. And the whole time he's just going, I remember that lady who went to the party during a Zoom meeting. She didn't know that she was on camera. I think that's what killed it. I think the actual sight of a toilet in the background. I'm on the party, look at me. Let's talk about business.
Okay, another question from the audience. What line from Cartoon Planet or The Brak Show took you the most takes from laughing?
You can hear a couple of them. There was, we released a couple recordings. There was the song "Don't Let the Front Door Hit You in the Backside," and for some reason I got into this laughing fit, and so they just kept the mic open. I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember any of my lines. It's funny because I did a music con with a bunch of like novelty guys in March, and I had to relearn a lot of my songs because, you know, if I'm doing an open mic or something, people are like, do this song, and I'm like, I made that up. 30 years ago. And you listen to it all the time, and I only knew it that once. So I've had to like relearn some of the old song.
Here's a good one. What's your favorite early memory with a Hanna-Barbera cartoon? What hooked you as a kid?
Early, I think it's, I think the most vivid early memory is the little Daddy Longlegs vehicle in the open of Johnny Quest. Yeah, Johnny Quest, I think, was the main thing. But I was a big fan of Banana Splits. I remember going to Kings Island in Cincinnati for the first time, and it was like right when they opened. And it was around the time where I guess the Brady Bunch did their episode there. And it wasn't, you know what? That wasn't the Banana Splits. We were greeted at the front gate by the Hair Bear Bunch. That was another one of my favorites. And then later in life you realize, oh, that's Hogan's Heroes.
Right.
A lot of those early like Hanna-Barbera stuff is like rip-offs of there's the Honeymooners, you got Top Cat with Sergeant Bilko, yeah, that stuff. I feel like Jetsons was the first real kind of original type of show. Because Huck was kind of Andy Griffith-y. Snagglepuss was Bert Lahr from Wizard of Oz, and so on and so forth. Although Pixie and Dixie, I think, were pretty original. But yeah, everybody's heavily based on somebody. Yogi is Ed Norton, that type of thing. So that was very. I don't know if that was Jack Hanna and Joe Barbera's thing, or if it was Michael Maltese who did all those. He wrote all of the Warner Brothers cartoons, but then later wrote a lot of the original Hanna-Barbera shorts. I don't know if that was a Michael Maltese thing or what, or if it was just Dawes Butler going, hey. So I don't know. But yeah, everything is based on something.
Right. So I want to make sure we have enough time for a signing here. But before we do that, I have a lightning round for you, or you can sing a song first. What would you like to do? Ladies and gentlemen, Andy Merrill.
This will be under the category of stuff you don't want me to sing.
Humidity is rising, barometer's getting low. According to our sources, the street's the place to go. 'Cause tonight, for the first time, just about 10:30, for the first time in history, it's gonna start raining, man. It's raining, man. Hallelujah, it's raining, man. Amen. I'm gonna go out, gonna let myself get absolutely soaking wet. It's raining, man. Hallelujah, it's raining, man. Every specimen, tall, blonde, dark and lean, rough and tough and strong and mean. And here's the pretty part that Paul Schaefer did. God bless Mother Nature. She's a single woman too. She took from the heavens, and she did what she had to do. She taught every angel to rearrange the sky, so that each and every woman could find the perfect guy. It's raining man. Hallelujah, it's raining man. Amen. It's raining man. Hallelujah, it's raining man. Amen.
So stupid. Excuse me. I just did this one. So punk rock, everybody.
I am the Antichrist, and I am an anarchist. Don't know what I want, but I know how to get it. I want to destroy the passerby, 'cause
No.
I want to be anarchy.
Shoot.
Oh my gosh.
The Smiths, ladies and gentlemen.
Take me out tonight, where there's music and there's people who are young and alive. Driving in your car, I never want to go home, 'cause I haven't got one anymore. Take me out tonight. Oh, it gets better. 'Cause I want to see people and I want to see life. Driving in your car. Please don't drop me home, because it's not my home, it's their home, and I'm not welcome no more.
Oh, here it comes.
And if a double-decker bus crashes into us, to die by your side, it's such a heavenly way to die. And if a 10-ton truck kills the both of us, to die by your side, well, the privilege is mine.
Okay, I did that because when we would edit Space Ghost in the early days, we would have to do like a digital cut on one program and then take that Avid program into an actual studio where they had the tapes to make it look pretty, because back then digital looked like crap. So you'd have to do everything from tape to tape, and it would take hours. It would take 8 hours. So the editor, Tom Roach, was a big Smiths fan. And so you would sit there editing an episode of Space Ghost, listening to the Smiths for like 8 hours. And by about the 6th hour, you just wanted to kill yourself. Like, last night I dreamt somebody loved me. It's like, Jesus Christ. Stupid Tom Roach. People like it when I do this one.
Right now, he's probably so dancing with a bleach blonde tramp, and she's probably getting frisky. Right now, he's probably buying her some fruity little drink, 'cause she can't shoot a whiskey. Right now, he's probably up behind her with a pool stick, showing her how to shoot a combo. He don't know that I dug my key into the side of his pretty little souped-up four-wheel drive, carved my name into his leather seat. took a Louisville slugger to both headlights, sliced a hole in all four tires. Maybe next time he'll think before he cheats. I can stop.
I don't have to keep going. What's another really stupid one? This is torture.
When you try your best and you don't succeed. When you get what you want, but not what you need. When you feel so tired, but you can't sleep. Stuck in reverse. When the tears come streaming down your face. When you lose something you can't replace. When you love someone, but it goes to waste. Could it be worse? Light will guide you home and ignite your bones. I will try to fix you. I have a magic toenail. I keep it on my foot. It always comes to rescue me. Shit. When something goes kaput. It has the cutest cuticle, free of all disease. As toenails go, it's really quite extraordinary. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, magic toenail. Light will guide me home and ignite my bones. And magic toenail will try to fix me.
Andy Merrill, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm not drunk.
Okay, rapid fire. Hey, look, my dog's hair. God, my dog.
Came with us.
Stupid dog.
All right, a very quick lightning round, and then we'll do a sign. All right, so no thinking. Just
42.
respond. Okay.
That is the answer to life's big question.
Okay. All right.
I'm a nerd. Let's do something with Douglas Adams and Star Trek and Doctor Who.
All right. Chuck Jones or Tex Avery?
Chuck.
Woodby Woodpecker or Chili Willy?
Woody.
Top Cat or Snagglepuss?
Snagglepuss.
Wacky Races or Laugh Olympics?
Wacky Races. Okay. Laugh Olympics had... Laugh Olympics.
Okay.
No, Laugh Olympics pissed me off because why have that extra team of villains that are new to the show? Why not go back and just... Never mind. Just pull the villains from the... I'm sorry. Just get Wee Willie from Huck or something like that. Come on.
Banana Splits or Lidsville?
Oh, jeez. I did my first con where I signed autographs for money. I got to know Butch Patrick, and we talked a long time about how Lidsville had the longest open to any show, and they ran it every single week. It was 1 minute and 45 seconds. In the middle of the something, in the middle of the park. It just went on and on telling the story of the show. Lidsville.
Okay. Touche turtle
Do
or
people
lippy?
know what Lidsville is? Butch Patrick
Yes.
falls into a giant magician's hat at a carnival and ends up being in this land full of people that are just
Hats.
little people in giant hats, but they're giant hats. And there's the magician is the villain, and it's Charles Nelson Riley. So I can't
Right.
say no to anything with Charles Nelson Riley in it. Oh, I said Tushy. Oh.
Mr. Magoo or Eustace Bag?
Who was the second one?
Yeah, from Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Magoo.
All right.
Oh, Magoo. I just like Jim Backus.
Underdog or Mighty Mouse?
Underdog.
Brak's mom or Brak's dad?
Brak's first mom,
Ah, yes.
who I wish she could have stayed the rest of the show, but we won't go into that.
Okay. And one, Michigan or Ohio?
She had problems. What? Who?
Michigan or Ohio?
Cover your kids' ears for a second. Whenever I hear OH, my response is you. And I'm from Ohio.
You're pandering to us, Andy.
No. My parents went to Ohio State University, and they were always big. My dad and mom were always big Buckeye fans, and then my dad died, and so did my Buckeye. I'm no longer obligated to like it anymore. It's one good thing that happened out of that.
Okay, well, please join me in thanking Andy Merrill.
Thank you for coming. I mean, look at you all.
So we'll give Andy a second to get over here, and you're welcome to form a line. Thank you all so much for coming. One more
right
big
there.
hand. Have a great evening.